to know what Agile Aarhus is about, so we don't do that at the end. So Agile Aarhus is what do you call it? A mixed community. We do both virtual and physical meetups. The virtual is for everyone, and the physical we do in Aarhus in Denmark, where you can see this nice rainbow. We are not there, but we have a good location in near the old harbor in Aarhus. So it's really about blending and mixing the community. And again, the foundation of this started during COVID, but there it was actually almost impossible to meet. So we really started in 23, getting the first events up and running. And we could see this, people were a little hesitant to do the physical meetup. So that's why we have this where we do every other session, ideally virtual, and every other physical. So we can give a little treat to everyone. So if you are more comfortable from behind the screen, you can join. But if you also want the more, you can say, intense session at a meetup, you can join in Aarhus. And we are organized here at what do you call it, the meetup, where we will put up all our events. Again, we are hopeful. We have a lot of good ideas here for the fall. We have just not landed them yet, so we hope to see 2 or 3 events coming very soon. So please sign up, and we will notify you when the next events are coming. And again, we aim for around 6 to 8 events every year, so you can join every 1 to 2 months or so. And again, the topic is called Agile Aarhus, so it's all about Agile. We really don't have any rules what is not fitting in that box, you can say. We have explored a lot of practices in the past, but we have also experienced that how does these practices actually work in different companies. And that's why we have these more company cases now. So, and hence Vinted. So Vinted is really something that have come on our radar, at least at the last year, at least in the Nordics. So suddenly you are here, and I'm buying stuff from Poland, all of nowhere. And again, who is this organization, and how are you actually working with Agile? Because we have heard rumors, right? We have actually scouts inside that say you are actually doing some awesome stuff. So it's all about leaning back now and listen to Sabina and Denis, and please let us know how to ask questions, etc., if you want them during or at the end. But nonetheless, yeah. And a big thank to Jan and Jonas as well for being co-organizers of Agile Aarhus. Again, without you, we wouldn't have any setup here. So a big thanks to you as well. But now let me throw the ball to you, Sabina and Denis. So hopefully you also have something to share, so you don't have to look at my screen here. But welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Simon. Denis is already sharing our slides. Good morning, everyone. It's a bit earlier for you than for me and Denis. We are 1 hour ahead, so more awake probably. Interesting to hear what kind of insights and rumors you have. Probably you can share those during Q&A, and we would ask you to have questions after our presentation. So you would get a full picture. Maybe we will answer something ahead during the presentation. So my name is Sabina. I'm Agile coach at Vinted, and together with Denis, who is also Agile coach, in the same company, we will talk how we do things at Vinted through the lens of agility. And when we were coming with a name, we were brainstorming with Denis, and this agility equals Vinted came up. And first we thought that it's a bit bold and daring, and we started with it like, oh, let's have such provocative title of presentation. But when we were talking what lays behind it, we actually realized that we have all the proof that Vinted equals agility. And today we will talk about all examples, and hopefully we will convince you that it's not kind of a marketing statement only. Okay, so then let's dive into the next slide, and we will talk a little bit about organizational context, so you would understand what is Vinted, how it operates, and where are our struggles and joys coming from. So Vinted it was born in 2008 in Vilnius by accident, as our co-founders say, during party. Milda and Justas, our two co-founders, were chatting, and Milda was moving from one city to another, and she had a lot of clothes. And it was a struggle to move them. They were in a good condition, so not to throw out, and also she was environmentally conscious. So she didn't want to contribute to the waste. And they were discussing that this is the issue. And during the same party, they ran research, user research, that a lot of people in the room had the same struggle. So they came up with the idea that we should be able to sell it like customer to customer. And that's how Vinted was born. It was called Mano Drabužiai back then. It was a side hustle for both of them. They kept for quite some time their other day jobs until it wasn't. And in 2009, 1 year later, also by accident, Germany was launched because they met some people, some friends, and that's how they chose the second market. Many years later, a lot of countries followed. So now Vinted is running in 20 plus countries in Europe and a little bit beyond. We have a small market share in the US. And currently we have over 100 million registered users. Last year, so before last year, Vinted was operating only in the fashion category. Last year, we launched multi-categories, like electronics, furniture, collectibles, like you name it, everything goes. And we expanded our business and changed a little bit our mission from making fashion, secondhand fashion, a first choice worldwide, into making secondhand goods first choice worldwide. So we're kind of moving into marketplace platform for everything category, but in the terms of secondhand. In 2019, Vinted became first unicorn in Lithuania, which proved that our business model is working. We are on a good track. And ambition started to grow. And a couple of years later, we launched our other businesses, Vinted Go, so it's a carrier business, and Vinted Pay, our payments branch. And last year, Vinted received 5 billion euros evaluation. So I want just to summarize the picture. We have 100 million users, 20 plus country, free businesses, and it's all done by 2,200 employees, mainly from Vinted, our headquarters in Vilnius. And we have offices in Germany, Netherlands, and a little bit in France. So it's a relatively small European company, which is in a hyper growth state for last 5 years, probably, with worldwide ambition. And to say that it's challenging is to say nothing. So that's where we are operating at. And let's move. Yes, you are reading my mind then. So why Agile is Vinted? And you heard the story, and we had no other way except for being Agile. We had to pivot so many times in our journey as a company, like searching for viable business propositions, searching for other, like how we can expand our business, how we can grow, still staying true to our mission and values. And it's not about just using frameworks, Scrum, Kanban. It's about mindset and like being agile at our core. And getting back to how it impacts us as Agile coaches, we didn't have to do transformations here, and we actually we did a little bit in the beginning, but we don't have to teach agility frameworks anymore. Everyone knows it, everyone operates like that. So it's changing how we as Agile coaches are operating and what kind of services we are providing to the company. And with Denis, when preparing, we were reflecting how this happened, because we never thought about it. We just came, and it's like agility is by default for us. And we think that there are two conditions. First, IT scene in Vilnius. We have a lot of IT companies, a lot of startups, several big banks, and they are operating in different ways of agility. So we have SAFe, we have mixes of frameworks, and we have startups who are just doing whatever is needed, but keeping the agility mindset. Also, Vinted is a top company, top employer in Lithuania. So this all combined, we have a luxury of selecting the best people from those companies who are trained in agility, who seen it at best and worst, and bring this knowledge to our company. So like agility is scaling by adding all the employees and bringing all the people to Vinted. And the second reason, and you can challenge us on this one because it's a subjective one, but we believe that Vinted hired Agile coaches at the right time, just before we started to go into this hyper growth mode, and then during the transition from startup into scale up. And I don't want to say that we don't have struggles. Like obviously we do, and our processes are far from perfect. But we were able to catch the key moments, and still are, and kind of police and monitor the agility culture. So usually Agile coaches are coming to organizations when there is something to fix and you have to do transformations. And we are quite lucky in our careers to experience the moment when we can set things right from the beginning. So that's probably also one of the key things. And during interviews, and even with Agile coaches, when we're hiring, people are asking like, but how Agile are you? And like you can tell us, because we brag that we are Agile, but we are like hiding some waterfall practices, or just trying to claim it because that's the normal for IT companies. And with Denis, we participated in many interviews, and it was like, what do you mean? Like we are Agile. Whatever we say, these are facts. We experiment. We care about customers and how we work, how we innovate. This is agility. So I'm proud to say that like there are no buts. We do things what we preach. And here comes the proof. So this was all the intro, the environment. And I want to start with first example of Agile leadership. Danny, if you can move a slide. Yes, thank you. Not many information on the slides, but just to set the scene. So we believe that it all starts with people, with mindset. And well, when we will be talking about agility, we won't be talking about frameworks. Teams are using whatever. We're not pressuring them. But as I mentioned, it starts with people, and it's the best if it starts with leadership. So it does at Vinted, and Vinted is very value driven, and values are aligned with Agile principles. So we grow, we aim high, we care, we co-create, and we own. And I know that this is not groundbreaking information. Most modern companies have values. They are written in their websites, internal pages. You get to know them at onboarding. But it's also not a statement at Vinted. Every quarter, we are evaluating all employees and all colleagues from top to the like all levels of organizational hierarchy on the impact, but also on the value. So we are impacting people on what and how, and both parts are equally valuable. There are people who having personal improvements plans because of not meeting value part, so being great at doing like some stuff and bringing impact. During hiring processes, we have scorecards where we also have to evaluate people against Vinted values, how they are meeting them. So it's like very living, breathing. We have Slack emojis with value icons. It's in our daily conversations and then behaviors. One more example of how we take seriously our values is, I mentioned co-create, and actually our part of organizational structure is created around that. Our value streams, so we call them domains, as domain has several product teams. They are run by EPDA setup, which means engineering, product, design, and analytics. So we have people from all functions running domain. Product calls the shots, but still everyone contributes. It's on director setup, so who are running the domain, but also it's replicated in the teams. So teams also have EPDA. So that's how we ensure the best decisions and solutions by co-creating and gathering collective knowledge. I already mentioned that we have those quarter evaluations on the values, but also on the impact. So we have personal goals and impact goals, and every quarter we reflect what was impactful and what can we do better. And in general, outcome is the key at Vinted. Like, we wouldn't be there if we wouldn't care about result most. And it goes for us as a business, but also for every individual in the company. Moreover, we evaluate the company as an employer. So we have bi-weekly company surveys, and they're not a formality. They're anonymous, but all comments are visible. And personally, I had our CTO commenting on my comments, like replying to them, and changes are happening. So this is insightful for all, not just like HRs use them. And the CTO replying to comments is not an exception. Our leaders are very open and transparent and approachable. You can message anyone in Slack, arrange a meeting. We do have hierarchy and layers, and with organizational growing, it's getting more complicated, but still we are addressing everyone informally, and all the relationships are quite informal and open, and you can, if you have ideas or feedback, you can tell them to managers, manager of managers, and CGO, whoever you run into the office. And you can run into the office with everyone. We have open office space, and our managers, VPs, C-level, they sit among teams. We don't have some kind of special places for leadership. Actually, our CEO, Thomas Plantenga, he has a habit to never eat lunch alone. So in our canteen, he chooses a table usually with one person sitting alone, and he joins having conversations. So it's like pretty informal in that sense. And lastly, I would like to talk about like we care, because it might sound with all the examples that it's like typical fluffy startup vibes, all the unicorns and rainbows, and though like part of it is in the culture that we do care. We have like nap rooms, meditation room, like mental health benefits. So we do care about employees, but part of care also see that tough conversations should happen, because it's unkind and not caring if you don't share with person feedback where they can evolve or do something better. You have to call out poor performance because it's damaging the person itself, but also the team around and eventually the company. So we don't avoid tough conversations, and as mentioned, it happens on all the levels. Actually, yesterday we had engineering leadership offsite, and our senior directors encouraged everyone to challenge them and to be challenged and not settle for mediocrity. So this is very important to us in the company. Our second example is customer centricity, and I give mic to Denis now. Who is muted?
Yes, exactly. I need to unmute as always. Normal things when you are presenting. Hi everyone. So yes, I will drive now. So through the different other examples that we have. One of them, and in my opinion, one of the most important when you are driving a company is customer centricity. So here in Vinted, our customer centricity is about creating a seamless, secure, and engaging platform that will meet the needs of our community. And to do that, we have a lot of different techniques, methods that we are using, and we are very focusing on that. We are very often conducting user researches, which we reflect on, where we understand what our users want, what the needs in the market that we have, and we are not only conducting them, which I've seen in the past as well, companies doing that, but never adapting based on that, but we are actually adapting on them. So it's very often that we adapt our plans based on the user research we are doing, which seems obvious, but as I said, not always the case. So we are very looking to that. And then we have also for the one using our platform, you would be able to see that within the journey, especially if you are listing items, we are requesting feedback. That we have seen in a lot of websites where we have this feedback form and so on, but we are actually looking at them, looking at the results that we are getting from our users, and we are adapting our plans based on that as well. Of course, it's a matter of priority, so not everything is feasible to be done, but we are definitely looking if we have some trends of people complaining about some specific things or missing some specific features, and that's something that we are looking at very often. And again, depending on the priority, we will do that. Also, an important part of the customer centricity here is one thing that Sabina mentioned in the leadership part is designer. We have designer in every team. So every team which have client-facing product, we have designers which are helping the teams to stay on track with the design, making sure that the design is done, but also the user experience. So every feature we are doing should go through a user experience topic where we see if that's how to make it the best for our users and so on. So it's not something that we are taking without consideration. Everything is thinking through, and we are looking at how the best way we can support our users. Also, we have data people in each of the teams. So every decision we are taken is backed up on clear data. So again, we have some assumptions. We have every time you have a problem, what you do, you create a solution for it, and then you make a lot of assumption when you are creating a solution. That's a normal way to do. And the thing that we are trying to do with data people is to make sure that we back up our assumption with data, saying that this is the right solution or it's not the right solution based on the problem. So again, we are looking at not only of finding a solution, but finding the right solution for our users. As I said, we want also we're creating a seamless, engaging platform for all our users, and that's also something that we are looking at. It's very something important for us that everyone can use our platform, and that's why, for example, another example, we have this accessibility requirement, so that which are including in the team or every team definition of done, so to make sure that every feature we are creating can be used by everyone. So a very important aspect that we are taking in consideration, and that's something that we are and the leadership is very willing to do. We also look because this is part of the delivery, but if we discuss about the overall organization, we are also looking at our customer support. Yeah, because customer support area is very well where we feel our users can be here, can be listened, and should receive the right support as the name of the service. Yeah, so saying that we just have a customer support is not enough. So we are trying to always improve it. So we are always looking at how we improve it, how this crucial part of the organization can be better. So it could go through very different things. And believe me, when we have a multi-million users marketplace, it's very challenging to have something which suits everyone. But that's one of the goals that we have. We want to have our customer support which is there for everyone. Also, I think something that I really like to say when I'm looking at how we work is that we do not release feature, we release test, and then if the test is successful, then we scale and it's become a feature. And that I think one of the key aspects that we are doing. So we are releasing test always. We're testing stuff. We are testing if that's the right solution, and then if it's successful, if we see that our users are there with the right things, then we scale. We scale to everyone, and then we are able to make it a feature. Okay, the next one, lean organization. This is actually something that it's a fighting battle that our leaders have on a daily basis almost. As we mentioned, we are growing very fast. In 5 years, I don't remember exactly how the numbers evolved, but it's like 5 times bigger than it was. So you can imagine that in terms of setup and in terms of organization structure, it's a challenge to keep this organization as lean as possible. But that's something that we are always looking at, and our leadership is very, very much looking after. So every time we are introducing any changes in the structure that we have, how we work, which reporting layers we have, which hierarchy level we have, and so on, it's something which is reviewed very carefully to make sure that we keep our organization as lean as possible. Again, we are not trying to say here that we don't have any hierarchy and everything is flat. It's not the case. It will never be the case, and that's fine. The thing is, we always look at how make sure that we don't overcreate some structure which are not needed, and that's, I think, a very key aspect of how we evolved as a company, and why this company is very successful is one of the key aspects. Because if we create unnecessary layers, then it means that you are putting the top layer very far from the bottom layer, from the delivery and from what the teams are doing, which is create these gaps that we don't fully understand what's happening in the middle. So keeping this as little as possible, make us very clear on that's a strategy, and everyone understands the strategy from their perspective, from their personal perspective, and then everyone also on top understand which delivery is impacting, how the delivery is impacting the strategy, or is going to meet the vision that we have. So this is very something that we are looking at, and we also look at it like, do we, if there is any change, do we create any precedents which actually will not be scalable? So this is also a very important question that we ask ourselves always when we have an idea to implement something new in the structure, a new domain or a new team or something. Is it something that if this is like, if we create a new layer, if we have for this team a specific layer, is it a precedent, and then the other teams will have the same, but we will not be able to scale it for the other teams? And then it's maybe not the right approach to do. Yes, so we are trying always to look at this as a holistic view for the overall organization, and see if we can make sure that we stay in. And one thing that one method that we are using to help us to structure in the right way is, for example, the domain-driven development, which help us to structure, to make sure that we review the dependencies between the teams and so on, and make sure that our structure in the teams, within the teams and the domains are still beneficial for everyone. Okay, moving on, looking at the time as well, just want to make sure that we have time for question after that. Agile product delivery. So the product delivery here is something also important for us. Why? Because we have a very competitive market. There is so many competitors, which is good, which make us improving and want us to aim high. But we need to not only be customer centric here that I mentioned at the beginning, but also we need to ensure that we have fast and quality delivery. So it's not enough to listen to our users, obviously, and say, okay, we will do it, but we need to do it when they need it. And we need to do it in the way that they like it. As I said, all the experiments that we are doing and so on are something that we do because we want to make sure that we are doing the right things for our customers. This is where our product delivery process comes in action. So we have very different aspects of this product delivery process, which help us to be better and to keep our agility there. I think the first one, which comes to my mind when we prepare this presentation, is the planning. And yeah, it's at least in my career personally, it has been something which is a struggle for a lot of time. How do we plan and keep this agility with the planning and making sure that we don't plan for unnecessary things and things will change and so on. I'm not saying that we are perfect, but at least we are using this granular iterative approach for the planning perspective. So what I mean by that is that we are planning on a yearly basis, on half-year basis, quarterly basis, and sprint basis for the teams which are using sprints. But we are not like we're always trying to challenge ourselves how much time we need to spend on it to be relevant for the organization. So the granularity here comes that, of course, on a yearly basis, you will not spend so much time because things will change. But at least it should be good enough for the teams to have a direction, for the teams to understand where we are going as an organization. And then we go to the half-year planning. Again, we are more details. We understand more what we want to do for the first half year, and then again we will make sure that this is more refined and so on. And then we plan for half year, but we will plan with some uncertainty for the second quarter of the half year. So the first quarter is more defined, and then we go to the next quarter is a bit less defined, and that's why we have some catch up at the end of the first quarter of the half year, and we again are able to adapt our plans based on what we discovered, based on what the market like the news from the market and so on. There is things. It's very often that we pivot ourselves because there is something. Our competitors are doing something. We discover some good opportunity somewhere. We discover some risk that we have that we need to mitigate and so on. So this is something that I really like in our organization, that it's not only about the planning, but it's also about being able to adapt ourselves based on the finding that we have, and that's also a very key aspect of our product delivery, that we are able to stop investing on specific initiatives whenever we need, and we are not afraid of that. That's very powerful tool, saying that, okay, now we invest a lot on this initiative, but we see it's not something that right now brings the value that we wanted, and we stop it. We don't go further if we don't see the value of it, or we change stuff and so on. But that's always something that we challenge ourselves, saying, okay, we have here something which doesn't bring the result that we wanted. How do we pivot from there? Do we need to continue on that, or do we need to stop, or do we need to change everything? Do we need to put more people on it? So that's always a question that we have, but we are not afraid to say, okay, we stop. And I've seen a lot of big initiatives which we stop in the middle because we just discovered that it's not what we do. So that's very something that I encourage everyone to think of for organizations, in the organization. Also, a very important aspect of our product delivery is experimentation part. So we have an experimentation culture in Vinted, where we always track how much can we experiment? Not in the terms like we have to experiment 5 times a week or something like this, but it's something that we have in terms of how do we make sure that we don't stay with the status quo, that we always try to improve things and just try something new, and we will fail. Yes. I mean, if we have 100% of our experiments scaled, that's a very worrying signal for me. It will mean that we are not experimenting. We are just doing a lot of discovery, very detailed discovery, which we are sure that will work. And what we are trying to do here, again, as I said at the beginning, fast delivery means that we need to fast discover something, try it, and then release it, and then we see it works, doesn't work, we fail, we'll do it in a different way, and that's it. So that's something I really like. We're not afraid to fail, and it's also back to the leadership topic. It's also given by our leadership, which also share their own failing very often, which encourage the team then to fail as well. And that, I think, everything is very related. Yeah, and also something important, which seems very obvious, but very not obvious, but very buzzy word, is autonomous teams. So as I said, we use DDD to help us with that, but think is that the overall vision for us is to have teams as autonomous as possible, and this is a constant part of our vision to make sure that we remain autonomous as teams. Of course, we have a lot of dependency between the teams and so on. We are not saying that we are so isolated and we can do everything, but it's still a hem that we have, and it's a hem that every decision we take, we look at the autonomy of the teams. Can they still be able to own their own product without impacting others and so on? So it's another challenge that we have, but it's allow us to have these fast and constant releases. So we have teams releasing every day. We have also of course we are dependent on the app releases and so on, but we for sure release every week on the apps and so on when there is this app release. So we have very frequent releases, which help us to keep on track with the competitive market. Yeah, and then the last one, I think we have covered the most important aspect of our agility, but I think the main drivers that we have as an organization is a continuous improvement. We want to continuously improve, and that's the leitmotif of our organization. As Sabina mentioned, I think one of the best example on agile leadership is this feedback loop that we have every 2 weeks. I mean, every 2 weeks, our leadership receives feedback, a survey with feedback from our employees saying, this is how we feel working in this organization for this and this and these specific reasons. That's very, very powerful. And it could seem that we are doing it for nothing, that nobody is reading it, but believe me, we are reading them, and people are looking at it. And it's not only on the organization, but you have the same survey on the team. I mean, you receive the same report on teams, on domain, and all the organization on their own organization, part of the organization receives that. So it's very powerful one. We also have this continuous feedback from our users. So we are always, of course, trying to improve our platform. How are we using our platform? How our users need this? We also improve always the technology we are using. So right now, this burst of AI, how can we use it? It's something that came very early in our conversation. Everything that comes to the technology is also here to make sure that we are improving. Restructurization. It's in most of the organization I've been, restructurization is something big, which is something that we need to very plan in advance, and we make a lot of conscious, careful decision around it and so on. In Vinted, I think in the last 3 years we have been restructuring at least 3 times, and it's not small restructuration. It's like switching totally the way that we are working. And it seems maybe crazy, and maybe because we make mistakes and so on. In some ways, sometimes, yes, most probably we made some mistakes, but most of the time it's more like reacting to what's happening around us and discovering new things with a new structure, discovering new things in the market, and then we have to restructure ourselves. It could seem costly. It is, of course, costly. Every change has a cost. However, I think this is what keep us as dynamic as we are. Not sitting and being with the setup that we have and struggling with the setup that we have, but identifying the right issues that we have with the setup and restructuring it in a way that we can continue growing. It's one of the key aspects of how we work and how we keep our agility in Vinted. And of course, the retrospective part. I mean, it's something that the teams are used to do on a bi-weekly, for the one which are working in sprint, on monthly basis sometimes. So we are trying to improve there, but it's also something that we are doing with our leadership. So it's often that myself, Sabina, and other Agile coaches needs to facilitate or to participate to retrospective on planning, how we do planning, how we work with our people and so on, to help the organization to find some better solution and some better ways of working. So it's everyone embedded in this in kind of continuous improvement, not only the teams on their own level, but everyone in the organization has this mindset of how can we do things better. And this is the key aspect for me on this agility in Vinted. And that was pretty what we wanted to tell you today. So now we can go to the questions sections. So I'm not sure how we do it normally. Do you have?
Yeah, I think there are already one or two
Okay.
in the chat, and then people can now also write in the chat, or you can raise your hand. But let's start with Mads. Are you here?
Yes. I'm curious because I've been using a lot of the other marketplaces like Facebook and other in Denmark. I'm placed in Denmark, but there's probably 1,000 out there, as you mentioned. But what make you different? I can see after your presentation here, I think the agility is actually maybe where you do it different from other companies. But I think Facebook has also doing agile. I guess I don't know actually how do they operate. But what make you different from the competitors? I'm a bit curious about that, because I've used both your platform. I like your platform actually. It's easy to use and it's secure, and I think the security is very important. So maybe that's the thing, your excelling proposition. But I'm curious about that. Mm-hmm. Can you elaborate a bit about that without telling your secrets?
Yeah, sure. I can maybe start. I mean, we may not be the best ones to answer on that question in the organization, but overall, I think one of the key aspects for us is also what Sabina mentioned. We are relatively a small company still. But with this small company, we managed to have the flexibility to organize ourselves and to answer to our customers and to be close to our customer. And I think this is what makes us successful, that we manage with keeping this lean small company, but still delivering quality product and secure product to our users by answering their needs. So this kind of customer centricity, I think it's one of our key aspects of it.
Mm-hmm. And I can add customer centricity turns into kind of a seamless product. So Vinted is supporting all the journey. You can upload things there, you can buy things there, you can pay through the app itself, and you can select shipping. So you don't have to go outside of the app for all the journey. And so this is one of the main features we are betting on, and which is successful. And also our prices and how we operate correlates with everything that we are always very cost cautious as organization as we are growing, but also what proposition we having for our customers, and keeping the prices at lowest encouraged us to create Vinted Go. So figure out that in some countries, so we couldn't get good deals on the shipping. So let's do shipping ourselves. We see with a scale that it's getting more and more expensive to use third parties for payment transactions. Let's do it ourselves. So all the decisions are very cost cautious at Vinted.
Just a comment. I think my experience with using different kind of marketplace platforms, that it's the security, because of that there's a lot of frauds in the Facebook marketplace. I think the security is very important to stick to that, and it should be easy. Keep it simple. It's easy to be a customer, because it's not always easy on the other platforms, but I think it's easy on your platform. A little bit, maybe you can improve that also, but I think security and it's easy to use the platform as a customer. I think this is the two main reasons that you can beat all the competitors. That's just my opinion. That was just a comment. Sorry.
Thank you.
There's a lot of other questions, so yeah, I will jump out here.
Okay, next question on the chat, I think it's Simon. Okay, maybe I can read it through.
Yes, unmute. Yes.
Okay.
You talked about agile leadership, and I think from my experience, leadership is often the first path to anti-patterns, right? You get the wrong leader and things start to, the domino effect starts, right? But so how is a leader defined in Vinted? And also, as a additional question, do you use middle managers, or how does your HR line scale in general? Because again, that's a word here in the Nordics that we are a bit afraid of nowadays.
Okay.
But yeah, so what is a leader? Maybe start with that.
Yeah, a leader is someone which will lead the team. Yeah, easy. It's someone which is able to give a vision to the team. Able to give, team. Team. It could be like a department or anything. Yeah, so it's a big team. But it's someone which give a vision to the team, and also encourage the teams to aim high, to work along the Vinted values, and also someone which which gives a possibility to everyone within the organization, within his organization, to grow and to be challenged enough. So that's, I think, I don't know, that would be my definition of a right leader in Vinted, but maybe you have more to say here.
No, I think you perfectly defined the leader's part, and I can continue answering on the following questions. So we do use middle managers. So basically we have in Marketplace. So Marketplace is the part of Vinted where we the biggest part and where we develop most of the product. So we have individual contributors, and then we have team managers, but also with this EPDA setup, the leadership part is engineering manager, leader manager of data analytics, product designer, and product manager. So this is the leadership of the team. Then we have directors level who are leading domain, like this value stream, and they're reporting to not very consistent to either senior directors or VPs, depending on where you are at the organization. And then we have VP level. We don't have even C level on all the functions. I think we don't have on all the functions. So we do have this middle there, and how HR line scale. Sometimes we scale, sometimes not. We are pretty good at the team level and director level. It used to work for a long time, and we are replicating in many domains when we are growing. There are struggles per function, like analytics function are creating a little bit of their own structure. So it's, I wouldn't say that we have figured out the perfect scalable way of organization, because we are creating custom solutions which are not super scaling, but we care about being fast more in this case. So that's the price we pay, but not a huge one, I would say. And there was a similar question: where the unnecessary layers that you want that you manage to avoid, so you can stay a leaner organization. So I can, since this is a similar topic, I would like to continue, and this is the part where between teams and directors, but I'm not sure if we are managing to keep it up. This is something we are currently trying to figure out. There are product domains that are growing bigger, and it doesn't make sense to split them into smaller domains. So we're trying to figure out how to still have a humanly possible number of reports and cognitive load and impact without adding additional layers. So I'm not sure we are we will manage to avoid this longer, but yeah, definitely this is the challenge we're currently facing, like what to avoid, what to add. Maybe let's go to the another question about large critical failure.
Yeah. Again, it was mainly around if you experienced anything where it was something where it's not just, the day-to-day where something misses, but something a little bit more critical, because I think that's kind of a good saying of how the culture is when that happens. How do you then recover from it?
Then I don't know.
So
I really want to go with 2016. I don't know if you want to do this one.
I wanted to go to another one, but which is more recent actually. So I can start, and then you can put your as well if you want. I mean, I cannot share the details of it for specific reasons. But it was something which came, and there was a huge risk there, and then we create a team, which not a team, but like a small team, but a big team, focusing only on this for 3 months, fixing that and trying to figure out how to fix that, how we will mitigate this risk, and so on. It took hours, and people were working very, very hard on that. People were very stretched on this assignment, for 3 months, it was something that everyone heard about. Everyone in the company was aware about that. Everyone was trying to mitigate this risk, but there was a core team which were even more focused on that. And at the end of the 3 months, we understand that it's not a risk which exists. It's just something that was not correct in the way that we interpret some signals and so on. So you can imagine that we spend a lot of time on it, of course, a lot of money, but also a lot of time and people, a lot of their personal time investing on that. And at the end of the 3 months, we have to say, we made a mistake here. It was not right. So how we handle that is that actually our CEO came to all hands and make his own mea culpa on that, saying we did a mistake. We did it wrong. We thought like this and like this, fully transparent, every details of the issue, of how it happens, what happens, how we work. Of course, appraise the people which work on that, and also sharing lessons learned. So that's what I really liked on this, is that he managed to make it very transparent, we made a mistake, that's my fault as a CEO, and so on. And then also sharing lessons learned, how we can improve next time, how we will make more gates around that to make sure that we don't create such kind of issues anymore. So I think that's the way that we are good at, is that our leadership is fully transparent on the mistakes they are also doing, and not afraid to say that. So yeah, that's how we recovered on this one. And I think after that, the organization itself gained a lot of credit, because we understand that everyone can fail.
I see we have a lot of questions, so maybe I won't give a second example. Let's just go to another question.
What's the next one then? What are the top 2 struggles to stay on the agile path? I think the organizational structure is one of the struggle we have. At least that's one of mine. Making sure that we stay lean. I mean, we say it a lot of time in this presentation, and we explain how we are trying to do it, but it's still a struggle. I mean, when we are growing so fast, it's still a very big struggle, and we have been good so far, but not. We will fight to stay like this, but it's not an easy one. Maybe Sabina, you have other one.
For me, it's a speed I'm questioning often myself if I am agile enough for this organization, because the speed they're operating is insane, and I have to put, like, personally, I love structure a lot, and I love bringing clarity, and I have to sacrifice that a lot for the speed and saying to processes that are not super scalable. But I understand at that moment that this is the true agility, not the framework agility, but like the mindset one, that we have to go for the impact and we have to do it fast. And it doesn't matter at times, like in which framework or no framework you will do it. That's more important.
Okay. Next question. How do you keep the startup vibes as organization grows and establish offices in the other countries?
I don't know if we strive to keep up the startup vibes. It just vibes. Yeah, we don't call ourselves startup. I don't know if we don't call ourselves anything in that term.
Yeah, I think that's actually one of the key, because when you start to call ourselves startup or corporate or whatever we call it, this is where we create some kind of expectation to the people, and it's very often, especially when we speak about processes, as soon as you grow and you create a new process, that's it. We are becoming a corporate, and then the people which have more this startup mindset kind of vibe and so on will say it's not good. And then the people which we say we are still a startup and we keep the startup mindset, and the people which come to implement a process say that it's a startup mindset, we cannot do anything. So this kind of putting organization in the box, for me, it's something that kill actually the vibe. And I think that's very nice when what Sabina said, that we are not calling ourselves anything. We're just an organization, and we have the vibe that we have. And the vibe is there by hiring the right people, and all this interview process that we mentioned, that we have to evaluate the people not only by their skills, but by the value, and are they aligned with the value that we have in Vinted. We have a very not complex, but quite extensive hiring process, which allow us to be able to sense these kind of things. And I think that's the key aspect of our vibe that we have in our organization.
Yeah, I see we are running out of time and we have a lot of questions, but me and Denis, we can stay a little bit over. I checked your calendar, Denis. I know.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to say that good that you speak on myself, but that's good.
Yeah, so
great. Okay.
If we can stay longer. The next question is about quarterly planning. Is that across the entire company, and is it in the form of outcome, result, or deliverables? Danny, that's your jam. Go ahead.
Okay, that's mine. Yeah, it is across the overall company. However, we have a bit different ways to do things when it comes to product organization. Like when I mean product, is product all the marketplace environments, but then not about legal and all the other part of departments. So when I speak about it's the same overall the organization, yes, in overall marketplace organization it's the same. So we are planning together, not together physically together, but we are planning at the same cadence at the same time. So we can align the dependencies and so on. Not saying it's perfect, but we are doing something like this. And then is it on the format outcome and result or deliverables? So it's a mix of both. We are using OKRs, objective key result framework. So this is one of the deliverables that we are producing during the planning. So we have OKRs on different actually layers of the organization, starting from the very top to cascading to the bottom. And then we have, when we plan, we also out of this objective create which deliverables will help us to deliver this objective and key result. And this is a part which very often change because we discover things, and we discover that this initiative that we are planning for to tackle this objective and to meet this objective actually doesn't bring the result that we expected, and we have to pivot to some other initiative and so on. So that the objective that we fix for ourselves is still feasible. So that's how we work with that.
Another
Okay.
question
Yeah.
is about the challenges of implementation of Agile at Vinted. And I read it while you were talking, and I was thinking that we're not implementing Agile. It's like we work in Agile, and that's the main challenge, probably to, at least for me, when I joined, I joined from an organization that is very set in their Agile ways of working, and it was mandatory for teams to work in Scrum and do estimations and all the sizing stuff. And here, I have to refrain myself, at least when I joined, especially from telling like these Agile rules, because if the team, like I have one of a team that is estimating in animals, I know that it's an option, but you cannot do anything with animals like when you want to calculate things. But on the other hand, their delivery is good. They're delivering what is impactful. They're experimenting. They're reaching KRs. Velocity is okay. So why do I care? They can estimate in whatever they want. So for me, it's a challenge to not try to imply some rules of agility, but stay core to the root of Agile by the mindsets, speed and value.
Yeah, I think it's a key here is that we don't implement specific part of Agile, just this kind of environment we are always challenging ourselves on these values that we want to achieve. So if we look at a simple one, the manifesto part, if we look at this people interaction versus process and tool, for example, yeah, it's a simple one, but it's something that we are kind of on a daily basis doing. Every time we have something which we struggle with, we will look at how we can improve it, how we can change it, and we're not afraid of that. And I think that's the key aspect. But we're not looking at how do we have this mindset and so on. It's just people are used to work like this now. We are used to always improve how we do it better, how we challenge and so on. Okay, let's move to the next one. We have still a few of them. let's try to be a bit faster here. Good that we have a lot of questions. How Vinted's agility impacts the product management, especially the area of product discovery, testing new solutions, feedback from users. Yeah, I can maybe try to answer it very quickly on this one. I think this is actually key aspect of our fast delivery, that we are trying to keep our discovery as productive as possible, saying that we discover things as soon as we see that there is an opportunity, and we are able to phrase this opportunity in a way that we see what we can test and what hypothesis we want to validate. Then we try to release it as soon as possible. And to deliver it as soon as possible, and then get the feedback from our users. So we do this A/B test principles, where we have people which have the test, some people which doesn't have, and then we see the difference in how people use it and so on. So this is how we use this discovery and delivery process to help us to take the right decision here. And of course, it's a challenge for our product managers to after adapt to it and try to figure out new features and so on. But that's how we do it.
Simon, give us 5 minutes. So quickly moving to another question about teams, our unique ways of working at team levels and practices, tools that are specific to Vinted, or is it down to each team to decide how they work since they're autonomous? So it is to the team at some point. As I mentioned, we don't care in what framework. Most work in some form of Scrum. We are using Jira, but also not all teams are using Jira, as long as they can provide information for higher level. So it's pretty loose. I would say the specific thing is that we are asking the teams to experiment, and we are pretty pushy and tough on that. Teams have KPIs, how many experiments they have to launch, just to get in the mindset of launch. So this is probably what is, I don't know if it's unique at Vinted, but it's what we are working towards. And other than that, teams can do pretty much whatever as long as they're impactful and meeting KRs.
Yeah, we give directions, we give expectation to them, up to them to define the way they want. Okay. Next.
Have you had a case? I will read. You can answer. That someone higher up or one of the old guards in the organization refused to work in Agile, and how you dealt with that?
I think it's also answering to the question that we are not trying to work Agile, so we don't really catch such kind of things. But we have, of course, people which come with different background and try to, and we have new challenges. We have new big stuff coming on. So people try to structure it in a different way that we are used to, and that's more mainly what I mean by not working as Agile. It's more like we used to work in a way, and someone bring a new way of working because of specific things. Then our job is to evaluate if it fits the purpose and if it brings value to our organization. So how we deal with that is that if we see that it's not, then we have discussions, open discussion. Sometimes we agree to try it and then see how the organization is reacting to it, and then we get feedback, and then we kill it, or we continue to work with it based on the feedback and the value that it brings. So again, it's part of experimentation. It's not experimentation only on the product, but also on the way that we are working. So we have now programs came in the pictures and so on. So how we work with that is something new, but it's still something we need to try, and we want to try, and we will fail at some point, but that's the way we work.
And we have last question. What challenges did we face in implementing the OKRs? Plenty, all of them probably.
What challenges we didn't have?
And I wouldn't talk about it in the past tense. A lot of them are continuing. So we tried having OKRs on all levels, so team levels, subdomain level, domain level, business unit level, company level, and it was very hard because we spent so much time just thinking of OKRs and creating them that we didn't have much time left on actually implementing those. So now we don't have such granularity of OKRs. Forming of OKRs in the right way that would be measurable and impactful. It took us a while, and still not all OKRs are perfect. The tracking part, like it's one thing to set OKRs, but then how you measure it. And we are still looking out at tooling. So if you have good suggestions, message me and Denis. But yeah, like how to holistically track it across organization. Automatically, this is something we're looking at, but overall, yeah, probably all that people faced using OKRs, and still we are believing in them and using them. And I think this is it.
It's nice to hear that you are also human, because it was a little, I don't know what I say. Well, yeah, you don't have a department in Denmark, so I can't even apply, right? But no, really thank you. It was really nice to hear, Vinted, and that you can actually scale. And even though you're not saying you are Agile, you are at least having the mindset and embracing it, right? And it's good to hear that it can scale, really good. And of course, there are struggles on the path, and thank you for sharing those as well. So thank you for joining. We will now stop the meeting and the recording, and it will come out afterwards, so you can also share it as well. So again, thank you, Sabina and Denis. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you for inviting. Have a great day.
So see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.